What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Video Homicide, back with another movie review / recommendation. Today, we're going to go back to the year 1982 to take a look at a film directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This is one I have not watched in a long time. This is a staple of AMC's Fear Fest or Horror-thon, whatever they called that. I remember back in the day when I was watching Walking Dead. It was like they got off on playing like those later Halloween fucking sequels, like 5 and all that shit, 4 and 5, and like those were the ones that I did not give a fuck about, honestly. And with Halloween 3, it was sort of looked down upon by me because there was no Michael Myers, and like Michael Myers was such, a big deal. Like I can specifically remember watching this tape. You probably can't see, but it's got Halloween 1 and 2, and like that was all I needed. And same with like Nightmare on Elm Street, because I'd only seen the first one, and then Freddy vs. Jason. Like those were the ones that I'd seen for a long time until, or at least owned, I should say. Couldn't really get into those later sequels. They were too goofy, you know what I mean? And like this movie is not goofy. This movie is all about, I'm assuming you've seen this. This is a staple. But the thing that I like about this is it's taking something that's so Halloween-y and turning it into something very sinister. Like, because a lot of times when you think of Halloween and its sinister nature, you might think of razors and the apples. If you get an apple in Halloween nowadays, like I'm sure they just toss it behind the shoulder. We did back then, but drugs and the candy, all that kind of stuff. With this, they're taking something that is supposed to be sort of a safe part, which is the mask, the Halloween mask, the disguises, the costumes. One of the most interesting parts of Halloween to me, like in terms of, like dressing up and doing the whole trick-or-treating thing. And like, it's, when I was a kid, it felt like such a different thing, because I was doing this in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I was born in 92, and I feel like I was sort of on that last ride of kids that were just sort of like, all right, parents say, okay, go trick-or-treating, and we just fucked off into the night, going door to door, banging on strangers' homes and demanding candy. It's a wild concept, and I've always been interested in it. And it's watching this movie inspired me to do this drawing. Like, for those of you that aren't following me on like Instagram and stuff, I'm in the process of drawing this giant fucking art piece or page, whatever you want to call it. This big ass drawing of all these horror icons. So I've got like Lucio Fulci's Zombie, Michael Myers, Leatherface, Severin from Near Dark, Henrietta from Evil Dead 2, and Oni Baba from Oni Baba, the demon like samurai dude. And I've got still 12 more dudes to ink, but I'm having a blast with that. But like I said, as I was watching Halloween 3, I was like, it would be fun to do like, that's, I believe, 14 by 17, the same size, and have like a bunch of kids like walking down the street like trick-or-treating, but like sort of, like in my style, obviously. So that's the thing, like, I don't know what possessed me to put this movie on tonight, but I'm glad I did. My wife stayed awake the whole fucking time, which I was like, holy shit. So that's saying something, like she is not gonna stay awake this late watching a piece of shit. Like I've watched some stinkers out there on Tubi at night before, and I put the movie on, and 5 seconds into it, I can hear her snoring. So Halloween 3, again, just a good Halloween-y feeling film. It is October. I'm not doing any 31 Days of Horror or anything like that. I give kudos to everybody that is doing that, but it just wasn't in the cards for me this year. But maybe next year. I definitely, I recommend anybody doing that, pre-record everything like months in advance. That way you don't get all caught up in the middle of the month. But watching this, has it made me want to watch the later Halloween sequels and reassess my opinions? Fuck no. Because I did enough of the... I watched part 4 and 5 and like H2O like so many times back then, and I remember like thinking to myself, like, I don't like these movies. Like, there's a few scary parts, especially, I think it was H2O. There was a scene where Michael Myers sort of lowers himself down like behind Jamie Lee Curtis. I remember that shot like sticking out and being like, oh my god. But I wasn't into it. I didn't like the way Michael Myers looked. I much prefer part 1 and 2, and as far as any other Michael Myers anything besides the Rob Zombie stuff, I avoid, honestly. I know it's a shoot me if you must, but I don't think Halloween is like the be all end all franchise. You know, I honestly think there's better franchises out there where more of the films are entertaining. Personally, for me, like I would take the Child's Play films over, you know, the Halloween films. Like I wouldn't take Child's Play over Halloween, like the first of, like I wouldn't switch the, you know what I'm talking about. But like those later sequels, like the later Chucky sequels, they're not no fucking cup of sherbet, you know, fondue or flambe, whatever the fuck. But they're much, to me, more enjoyable than those later fucking Halloween flicks, man. They're just shit. I was so, like, I couldn't believe it, like when those new ones came out that Danny McBride made, and or was a part of, and like people were saying how good those were, but the same people that shit all over the Rob Zombie stuff, I'm like, man, these Rob Zombie films, like, these are hardcore horror slasher flicks, and these new ones are just a bunch of like cringy teens talking with Michael Myers squirted throughout with crazy Jamie Lee Curtis acting like Loomis. I don't know, man. They were not for me. But getting back to Halloween 3, for anybody that doesn't know, because I'm sure there may or may not be someone watching this that's like, I've never fucking seen this flick. There's this guy who runs this mask, like a novelty company, and they're part of their division is making masks that are infected with this like radioactive material that's been stolen from a Stonehenge, which is a location in England. It's like this formation of rocks. So they stole one of those, and they're implanting the fragments of it into these masks. And at a certain time on Halloween night, these masks are going to activate if the kids are watching the TV, and they're going to kill them. So, and have snakes come out of their fucking heads, and cockroaches and grasshoppers and stuff. So, pretty cool. I remember, for some reason, I can remember more graphic shit happening with the masks, but you only really see that, is it one time? You know, is it two tops? Like, it's the kid, like in the test room, he gets his fucking head all chewed in, but for some reason I can remember one of the skulls melting, but it just was waiting for that to happen, and it just didn't. But regardless, man, it's definitely a good fun time. Like, you could double feature this with you know, Night of the Creeps, like I said, because it is Tom Atkins, but it has like the same sort of like Halloween feel, you know, like another like triple feature that I want to do, probably not all at once, but I definitely want to do this Halloween season, is I want to do the Blob, the Fly, the Thing remakes, boom, and just maybe like one a night or something like that, and knock those out, because it's been a long time since I watched the Blob. It's been fuck long time since I've seen the Fly. I've watched the Thing recently, like in the last like year or two, because it's one of my favorites. I used to watch that movie all the goddamn time, but and you know what? It's only right, because it is such a good flick. So one thing about this movie that stands out big time is the score, because John Carpenter is behind it, and this movie's actually shot by Dean Cundy, who also shot The Thing, Halloween, I think Escape from New York. He also directed Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which is fucking crazy, and I think Stuart Gordon wrote that. So you take like two horror maestros, the guy behind fucking Reanimator, From Beyond, a bunch of great stuff, and then the guy that shot a bunch of these classics, and they make a movie that I have a soft spot for. I fucking love Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. It was the one that was the most recent when I was a kid, but, and it had Bug, or his name is Bug in real life, I believe, but Alfalfa from fucking not Home Alone, Little Rascals, the Little Rascals. So, yeah. One thing about Tom Atkins in this flick, and I was watching the documentary on here after the fact, and it was hilarious, because the whole time me and Kayla are watching the film, we're like, this guy's like a poonhound. Like, he's after all the tang, and, you know, he's slapping the nurse's ass. He's in cahoots with the mortician chick. And he just meets this young broad. Next thing you know, she's like, what do you want? Where do you want to sleep? And he's like, you don't want to know the answer to that. And it's like, dude. And now he's nailing this chick that ends up being, spoiler alert, a fucking robot. Mental. I love the idea, though, of this town that's sort of, you know, under control of this place. And, you know, these fucking these sort of Mr. Anderson businessman types that fucking bleed yellow liquid, and they're robotic. I don't know. I like it. I'd recommend it. I probably won't watch this again for quite a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years. I only say that because I think it's good, and I do recommend it, but I don't think it's, you know, like, this isn't Rob Zombie's Halloween. You know, this isn't John Carpenter's Halloween or Halloween 2. for that matter. But I do think that it is a must-watch. This is the Scream Factory DVD. So I never upgrade this shit because I don't think that there's a... Like, it took a long time to get all these fucking movies, and like the thought of like, oh, get rid of these and get the new edition. Like, fuck that. You know, like the only way I can watch this movie right here, The Super, with Joe Pesci, is this tape. All right, this movie's out of fucking control if you've never seen it. It's a very offensive film. Joe Pesci, man. That's like right around the time of Goodfellas and Home Alone too, so it's trippy. But regardless, oh, this is cool actually. My wife bought me some movies for my birthday, which was the 25th of September. She grabbed me Cape Fear, the original Cape Fear. This movie, The Undertaker, which is, I believe, a South Korean flick. It's only 65 minutes. Oh, I think it's Japanese. So Undertaker. And then last but not least, and expect a fucking review for this coming up soon, Serpent in the Rainbow. Which I actually do have this flick on a 4-pack. I was looking for the 4-pack tonight. I could not fucking find it. But regardless, I got this now. And can't wait to watch it. It's been a while since I've seen it. Probably at least like 10 years. So anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a 666 in the comments. Adios.